Welcome, welcome, welcome. Congratulations. It is week 4. Congratulations for making it to week 4. Are you loving losing weight by not doing stuff? I am. Just by not eating genetically modified foods, the weight is shedding off. I love it. Last week was interesting. Discovering all the foods that are really genetically modified. Was it a shocker to find out your favorite cereals had genetically modified ingredients? I got a little more tougher switching brands to find good things to eat. But we are still eating full meals and losing the weight. What did you think about all the choosing organic options when possible? I'm sure it felt good to go organic when you were able to, right? Did you notice the interesting thing about organic fruit? Some of the seedless varieties of fruit said non-GMO. How is that? You have no seed, but you are also not genetically modified. I found that in the case of watermelon, they are said to be made by cloning the natural seedless child of two seeded watermelon plants. So, how are your sugar cravings going? Let's check in. Are they still non-existent? Yeah, that's because you killed all the candida. So you are now more capable of staying away from those sugary drinks. Try to keep at 5 days out of the 7 no sugary drinks. So you have a couple cheat days in there. But for the most part, come on, let's be tough, guys. Now it's time to weigh in. Step on that scale. Let's see how much weight you lost. This is week 4. You should have at least lost 20 pounds by now. Join the Facebook support community group if you haven't already. Show us what you're eating. Participate. Let's support each other. If you've learned how to switch to soy milk, almond milk, cashew milk, coconut creamer, share what you're doing. If you've learned how to switch to those non-GMO foods, if you've learned the varieties of cereals that you like best that are not GMO, if you're having a great time with those probiotics, whatever you're doing this week, go ahead and check in, post your progress report, give us your questions, and state how many days or how many months you are in. All right, here's the meal plan for this week. We're going to keep up our drinking our 1 cup of lemon water. Continue to take your curcumin pill. We want to flush out our liver and make our bodies ready to receive those nutrients. So we're going to keep up those 5 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. And if you can make the vegetables prebiotic, even better. Continue getting your 7 hours of sleep. No eating past 9. Stay off that dairy. Complete your candida. Keep going with that if you need more. Keep doing that, eliminating those sugary drinks. Take probiotics, prebiotics, eliminate the GMOs that we learned last week. And this week, we're going to remove beef and control our portions. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn all about beef. Beef is a type of red meat along with veal, lamb, goat, pork, and mutton. Now, when I stopped eating beef, it was purely due to a spiritual reason. So I accidentally learned that eliminating some beef was going to help me lose weight. Now, I actually felt like Jesus told me that cows weren't naturally created by God, but were genetically modified creatures. So at the time, I had no proof of this other than what I heard, and I told you I was really trying to only eat the things that God created. He said every seed was created after its kind. He identified, not to eat the creeping things. He identified what was clean meat, unclean meat. And so I was really thinking, oh, what if a cow really wasn't made by God? So I had no idea how to prove this, but I just took this by faith. And so even though this red meat is veal, lamb, goat, pork, there's beef is just one type of meat. I didn't stop eating all red meat. I only stopped eating meat that came from cows. Okay, so I went on my faith and made the bold decision to try it. So I had, like I said, I had nothing against red meat. I didn't even have any of this research that I'm going about to tell you about. So I kept on eating lamb and goat, but I stopped eating beef. Now, I had already eliminated the dairy, so now it was just letting go of the steaks, hamburgers made with beef, etc. And guess what happened? I started losing more weight. So every time I lost weight, I kind of hit a plateau. But when I eliminated the next thing and I would weigh myself, more weight was coming off. And so from me doing nothing, just by choosing not to have beef, I'm just not going to eat it, my body was able to lose more weight. Okay? So yeah, I thought to myself, how does not eating something help me lose weight? So I was thinking, is the thing that I was eating blocking my body from working perfectly? Like, it has to be that. The beef has to be blocking my body from naturally doing what it's supposed to do. I didn't know, but at least I wanted to see if there were any clues in the Bible. So, meat in the Bible, first thing I learned, was not always animals. Genesis 1 and 29 says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." So meat was referring to the fruit of a tree. That was the first time the word meat was used in the Bible. Leviticus 2 and 1 says, "And when any will offer a meat offering unto the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil upon it and put frankincense thereon." And so the Israelites weren't forbidden from eating clean animals like goats and lambs, but they ate more meat, which were flour grains. They ate more flour than they did flesh, which we know as meat. And so all the meat offerings were fine flour. It was either baked in a pan or fried in a pan, but it was flour. And the flours then were more like amaranth flour or buckwheat flour. It wasn't really this white flour that we're eating. But even when the people were hungry in Numbers 11 and 22, God told Moses that he will give them flesh to eat for an entire month until it came out of their nostrils, and it be lonesome unto them, because they despised the Lord which was among them. And Moses said, "Shall the flocks and the herds be slain for them to suffice them? Or shall all the fish in the sea be gathered together for them to suffice them?" So Moses was saying, you're going to give them flesh to eat. So now for sure we're talking about animals. You're going to give them flesh to eat. Are you just going to kill all the animals so that they can eat? And because they weren't looking at the animals for food. These people were hungry, but they already had these animals and they had all the fish in the sea, so they weren't looking to kill all the animals. And that's when God replied and said, is there anything too hard for him? And so God gave them manna, and he also gave them quails to eat. And so they used the manna to make more bread, and they did eat the quails. And for anyone who lusted after the quails, that flesh, which was a sin to just lust after flesh, they were actually plagued by it. So the flocks weren't normally being slain and eaten, but they were used for other tasks. And even when Joseph was promoted to be second in command over Egypt, and there was a famine in the land, the people were dying for lack of fruit and flesh. They had plenty of cattle to eat if they wanted, and they had all the fruits, but they didn't have any corn to make bread. In Genesis 43 and 11, Israel told his sons to go to Egypt and buy corn. And their father Israel said unto them, "If it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds, and take double the money in your hand." Wait a minute. So there's a famine in the land, and they are really having to go to Egypt to get corn, but the whole time they have honey, spices, myrrh, nuts, and almonds. So they have food, but they don't have anything to make bread out of. They have fruit, balm, honey, spices, but they had no corn to make bread or cake. So their primary food was not animals, their primary food was bread. So after realizing that so many people survived on primarily bread, I didn't mind giving up beef or exploring the possibilities. I really wanted to explore how come bread has such a bad rap. Because people were like, oh, the first thing they do to lose weight is give up bread, but all these people were eating bread. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I feel like God told me that that a cow wasn't created by him, so I don't feel bad about giving it up and exploring different possibilities. Okay, so bread was the main dish in the Bible. When Jesus prayed, give us this day our daily bread, every day the daily portion of food contained bread. A 2017 Israel News post by Daniel Eisenbub cites that archaeologists have completed an exhaustive analysis of the bones found in an ancient landfill of the city of David and determined that Jerusalem's ancient inhabitants strictly adhered to kosher dietary laws and primarily consumed sheep and goat meat. We found no pork bones or shellfish whatsoever, and that 70 to 80% of the bones were from sheep and goat, and a little cow and chicken bones, Gaddett said. They were definitely eating a variety of fruits, vegetables, wheats, and barleys, which we will study in the future research, said one of the researchers. Okay, so what does the science say? Scientifically, there is a good reason to limit the amount of red meat that is consumed. A 2019 study in the International Journal of Epidemiology found that eating an average of 76 grams, about 2.6 ounces of red meat or processed meat a day, was associated with a 20% higher chance of developing colorectal cancer, as compared to consuming only about 21 grams a day. And a 2017 article published in the Journal of Medicine found that based on at least 6 cohorts, summary results for the consumption of unprocessed red meat of 100 grams per day varied from non-significant to statistically significantly increased risk, which is about 11% for stroke and for breast cancer, 15% for cardiovascular mortality, 17% for colorectal, and 19% for advanced prostate cancer. For the consumption of 50 grams a day, processed meats, the risks were statistically significantly increased for most of the studied diseases. It was 4% for total prostate cancer, 8% for cancer mortality, 9% for breast cancer, 18% for colorectal, and 19% for pancreatic cancer, 13% for stroke, 22% for total, and 24% for cardiovascular mortality, and 32% for diabetes. Now, cooking the red meat at higher temperatures triggers the production of several compounds that may cause bowel cancer in people with a genetic predisposition. Processed red meat like hot dogs, sausage also have nitrates, both naturally and as added preservative. Nitrates are thought to contribute to cancer. So this chart shows that processed meat and red meat lead to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. And the more you eat, the higher the risk you're going to have. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the beef, and we want to stop eating when we are full. So this is the message that God has given me to give to you guys. If you are full, stop eating. That is your natural trigger. That's also going to help you lose weight. So now that you have candida under control, that was a prerequisite, and not telling your body to keep eating everything, you should have more control over stopping yourself from eating after you have consumed a decent sized meal. Now, when I was overweight, I ate and then I ate some more. And if it was yummy, I ate some more because it felt like I still had plenty of room for the food. But our bodies need time to process a plate full of food. So just like we are practicing not eating past 9 p.m., also really try to push back your plate after you have consumed a meal. Eat more fibrous food during your meal so that you stay full longer. Fibrous food is those fruits and vegetables, primarily the vegetables. You don't have to eat 2 and 3 plates back to back to back. And that's what I was doing. Because I didn't have that stopping mechanism, because the candida was just going rampant in my brain and telling me to eat everything, plus I needed dessert, plus it was so yummy, so just keep eating more. Plus I had the guilt of throwing away food when I was full, but I grew up where you better eat all your food on your plate, don't you waste food. I had that guilty mindset. I was just eating, cleaning my plate, cleaning my baby's plate. So one trick when eating out that you can use to help you to stop eating when you're full and not to overeat is to order a to-go box immediately after your food arrives. What you're going to do is you're going to take half of the food and pack it up. So you're going to always have leftovers if you eat out. That way you are automatically saving half of your dish to take home with you. Another mindset shift was needed because, like I said, I felt bad about wasting food. Were you guys raised to, to hear words like, kids in Africa don't have this luxury of food, so eat all your food? Were you kind of raised that way? I think the baby boomer generation raised their kids that way. So, it was a travesty to see good food thrown in the trash or just not eaten. So I would eat all the extra food. But all that extra food is going to your waste. And you have to understand that when we're talking about obesity, we defined it as it's a abundance of stored energy. It's food that's not going to get used. Okay, your body isn't going to put it out in your bowels, it's just going to store that food. And so why store excess energy in your bodies when we don't need it? In fact, we're trying to get rid of the excess that we have. We're trying to shrink down those fat cells. So it is well known that diets characterized by energy excess leads to obesity, increased cardiovascular risk. Published data indicates how a 20 to 50% reduction in energy intake in the absence of malnutrition delays the onset of metabolic diseases such as obesity and type 2 diabetes. In experimental animal models such as rats and mice, indeed, published clinical studies confirm that energy restriction reduces cardiovascular risk. Interestingly, a small pilot study involving 24 subjects demonstrated how a 10-week energy restriction, 80% of habitual, significantly reduced both systolic and diastolic blood pressures, which is known to be a cardiovascular risk factor. In addition, a significant reduction of glucose levels was observed after a similar 10-week energy restriction diet, which implies an improvement of metabolic pattern, which is an additional risk factor for cardiometabolic disorders. Furthermore, several studies indicate how a long-term reduced energy nutritional pattern improves cardiovascular risk, demonstrating that a 2-year energy restrictive diet could improve serum lipid profile, fasting glycemia, and blood pressure levels. So many health benefits just by restricting the number of calories that you're intaking. Now, let's talk about how to pack your meals to manage your portions. There is a big portion distortion. The American Society for Nutrition published a report that stated in total 9 studies focused on manipulating the portion size of snacks. Of these, 1/3 showed that increasing the portion size of a snack food by 100% will result in a 35 to 80% increase in adult snack energy intake. Now, what does that mean? It means if you were to put a big bag of chips in front of me, I would eat the big bag of chips. If you were to put a small single serving size bag of chips in front of me, I would eat the small single serving size bag of chips. When you present people, especially obese people, with larger portions, they're going to eat what you put in front of them. So that's all they found. 1/3 of the people, when they increase the portion size, increasing portion size. Okay, if they increase the portion size by 100%, 35 to 80% of the people ate it. Okay, so in the presence of visual cues such as larger bowls and serving scoops, it appears that adults will serve themselves more of an energy-dense snack. So you're eating more just because it's there. So you have to get into the mindset of eating what you need, eating a serving, eating to get full, chewing your food longer so that you can give your body time to trigger that I'm full signal to you. Let your body talk to you, but you have to give it time. If you eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, by the time that signal comes, you've already ate way too much. And so you eat smaller portions, allow your body to digest it. If you're still hungry, you can eat a little bit more. Wait until you get that signal, but stop eating once you're full. Okay? So we need to eat and check in with our bodies on if we need more, not with our eyes on how much more we can get. Did you catch that? You're checking with your body on if you need to eat more, not your eyes on how much is there. The Bible says it like this: when in the presence of a king, put a knife to your throat. Okay? One of my good friends lost over 100 pounds, and she said that eliminating snacking altogether is a big portion of how she did it. When she thought about snacking, she drank water instead. So I don't know if that tip will help some of you to get through that whole overeating and eating a lot of snacks. So one thing you can do to help is to buy snack foods that are already divided into single servings, so you are not tempted to eat the whole bag or the whole box. Measure out a serving of your snack and place it in a bowl. If you eat from the bag, it's going to be hard to control those portions. So don't eat from the containers. If you have a big container of something, take out the portion that you're going to eat. Avoid going to buffets. Ask for takeaway containers when you order your food right away. Eat slowly so your body has a chance to tell you when it's full. Never supersize anything. I repeat, never supersize anything. My daughter taught me that I can even order kids' meals from places like Chipotle or the deli sandwich from Subway, because these restaurants are serving kids full-size meals. So the kids' meal at Chipotle looks like a full adult meal. You can get full off of that. And do not refill your cups of pop on the weekends when you're limiting those sugary drinks. Don't keep serving bowls of food on the table. My biggest problem was having food sitting right in front of me. I still struggle with that. I like decorating my dining room table with all the food, like the pictures of Thanksgiving dinner where all the food's on the table. Well, if that food is still in front of me and I'm still looking at it, it's hard to resist, especially when I know it just tastes so yummy. I'm going to keep on getting another sliver until I've ate darn near my plate plus another whole half a portion. And so don't keep serving bowls of food on the table. Put them away. Resist having those second helpings, and see if you're still hungry. So those are the tips for this week. So to get the results you desire, we're going to keep up our drinking lemon water, 1 cup. Take that curcumin pill every day. Continue your 5 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. Your prebiotics, take those probiotics. Get 7 hours of sleep. No eating past 9. Keep off the cheese and the dairy. Keep up with your candida cleanse. If you need it, you can check your spit again this week. Avoid genetically modified foods. Choose organic. Wash off your foods. Use that vinegar solution if you have to. And eliminate beef. And stop eating when you're full. Go ahead and get those results, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.